nice, 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 nice.
Welcome to the Jebaited podcast, episode 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
I am your host Oleg with my co-workers.
Rocker.
Wrong channel.
Lewis.
Jack.
Caden.
And welcome to a special episode of horror.
Oh, scary! Oh, shiver my timbers!
Now, we got ourselves some questions here, and we're going to be randomly spinning them just so we could see what we can talk about. Ready, boys?
Yep.
Let's go.
Oi.
Oi, mate, is that a valid train ticket? Meanwhile.
Oi.
Yeah.
Alright then. First question will be, if this thing spins any faster than all people do the
War?
Alright, would you look at that? Why are sounds important in horror movies and games?
Well, I would say it's to create suspense. I would like to get the audience engaged, I would say, as well.
I mean, suspense will be like if you're talking about negative
space.
Yeah, negative space, yeah.
Yeah, that's when it creates suspense because you don't know what will happen.
It genuinely depends on what you're trying to go for with your piece of horror media. Like, do you want the entire thing to be suspenseful and then lead to nothing, or do you want it to have a jump scare?
Yeah.
I think too much music could be over the top, but if you're giving the audience an immersive experience, then it's all good.
I mean, to be honest, personally, I feel like if there should have some sort of ambient sound, like there is some music, but it's like really quiet and calm,
Yeah.
but not too calm.
And especially with jump scares as well, because they're quite overdone, can't they? Especially with like horror games where they just throw jump scares at you and it's just like, it gets a bit annoying and it's not really that scary.
I mean, let's all be honest, jump scares and loud noise is the only thing that can possibly make something scary.
Yeah.
And that's a sad fact.
Jump scares are horrible.
Yeah.
That question
The
is
really cheap jump scares.
Especially like games like, of course, like Five Nights at Freddy's and like all that sort of stuff.
I mean, the worst one when it comes to jump scares is the upcoming Garden of Ban. Have you seen their jump scares?
Frog. Wrong!
Yeah, because I remember showing yesterday and awful.
What? You both spoke at the same time. Couldn't understand.
Sorry.
You first, Michael Jackson.
You could have not talked about Garden of Ban.
Well, I should have, because that's the only bad horror game besides Hello Neighbor and Bendy the Dark Revival.
Hello Neighbor's not that bad.
Yeah, it is. It's
I'll
not
give
even
it some credit.
It's not even that horror though.
Alright then, before we go off track, let's go on to the next question then, shall we? Because we already derailed this by talking about different...
we're going a bit off the rails here.
this. Your personal favourite horror game / movie.
That's very difficult. That's a very difficult question.
Alright, let's start off with movie first.
Well, I don't have a specific like favourite horror movie, but I would say like films like Us, The Smile, Hereditary, Paranormal Activity, like them type of movies, because they're quite different from other horror movies. Like they're quite like horror of the unknown, so you don't really know what it is.
What are you doing? What's going on? You were sleepwalking.
I'm sorry. Is Charlie here?
Why are you scared of me?
What? I never wanted to be your mother.
Why?
I was scared. I didn't feel like a mother. But she pressured me.
Then why did you have me?
It wasn't my fault. I tried to stop it.
How?
I tried to have a miscarriage.
How?
However I could. I did everything they told me not to do, but it didn't work. I'm happy it didn't work.
You tried to kill me.
I love you.
Why did you try to kill me?
I was trying to save you.
Why did you try to kill me?
What about you two?
I'm a fan of VHS myself, like the VHS film, because it's like a bunch of different like clips compiled into a film, but like the guy watching the clips, there's also like a story to that. I can't explain it, I'm not smart enough to understand it, but it is pretty good.
Which one is it?
I don't know, man. Let's just look at this tape.
What's so special about this tape anyway?
apartment's haunted.
It's not haunted. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation.
Probably like something like It or Nightmare on Elm Street, because it's very like action based as well. So it's not like boring.
But of course you could say like that, is that particularly horror as well, because of course if you have too much action in it, it doesn't really make it that scary. But of course that brings the term of like what is horror as well, isn't
It
it?
kind of explains why the newest Nightmare on Elm Street from 2019 was a bit more dark toned than.
Yeah, the original. Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I have heard like.
Well,
it's a bit more
horror
darker.
movies, I really don't have a favourite because although I like horror, I don't watch horror movies or.
No.
Because if I watch too much horror stuff, then horror will just become just something else. But if I had to choose, I'd have to choose like either Get Out or Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, Get Out's really good. Yeah, Get Out's really good.
What about games?
Games wise, I'll probably say like games like Resident Evil and like Silent Hill, but like with them, they're not even that scary either because they're more like actiony as well, but they still have elements of horror.
I feel like for me, it would be another Five Nights at Freddy's game, but the one that is actually focusing on close VR experience.
Oh, Help Wanted.
Yeah, Help Wanted.
Yeah.
That's
I haven't played that because of course I don't own a VR headset, so.
Yeah, and also
but I have heard it's like one of the better FNAF games.
Obviously, there are a ton of lots of horror games. One I can't really mention.
What?
Nah, because it does not matter. What about you, Jack?
I'm a fan of Iron Lung.
Should we all question at the same time?
Do I explain the law of it?
Can you
I mean, if you want to make this like an hour-long podcast, you can.
Well, yeah, I'll summarise it in just a few words. But I'll pull notes from this. It's a horror game where you're in a rusty submarine in the blood ocean of a barren moon. You're here because you're a prisoner on a space station, forced on an expedition. If you come back, then they promise your freedom. But the thing is, you're never going to get freedom. And the reason you're even on the spaceship is because a quiet rapture where all the habitable planets and all the stars vanish. And at the end of the game, you die. But it builds up suspense throughout the entire game without even having loud sound effects or music.
Yeah.
It just does it based on principle.
Yeah, and it leaves sort of like the player as well to give like an interpretation as well, doesn't it?
Hang on.
There's even like a note in the ship that basically tells you that you're gonna die in there, but that is your freedom.
Yeah.
Alright, Caden?
I wouldn't really say I have one now, but when I was younger I used to play quite a bit of Five Nights at Freddy's, so probably just say that.
Well, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's, the newest title, Security Breach, was meh, but once Ruin came out, that is when things got better.
I'm playing Ruin, so I can't say.
No. I guess we're just going to remove those type of questions. Alright, what about this question? What makes a good horror game or movie?
A good horror game and a good horror movie is when you think about it long after, like thinking about like the different endings that could have happened, like character motivations and like why what happened.
And also why exactly sometimes in horror movies the antagonists don't have reasons to actually commit the crimes or murders they do. They just stay as characters that just do the killing because they can.
Yeah, just because you get jump scared in like a horror movie or a game, that doesn't make it good.
No, like, for example, sometimes horror games just go with bigger equals scarier, but then again that kind of becomes stereotypical and
sometimes
predictable.
less is more, isn't it? Because it leads to like the viewer to leave like interpretation for like, you know, what's to come.
I mean, the Minecraft fanbase would say otherwise.
I mean, something else that makes good horror is taking advantage of phobias. So let's talk about like Subnautica. They take advantage of people with thalassophobia because obviously it's a game about the ocean. And with the Reaper Leviathans, that makes it terrifying.
Would it be a good time to point out that the game does not count as horror?
Yeah, it's not even a horror game.
It's just
Ba-
a
basically,
coincidental horror game.
It's more horror than anything else, if I'm honest.
What about you two?
But like Jack just said, he said that's not the game that I was on about, not really horror, but that's sort of a good thing because you're sort of playing it right, and you could say you're not expecting it to be horror, so and then when it is scary, it's like, oh, this is like quite scary, so it keeps you like quite off guard.
I feel like some people will try to stick with the basis of horror game to not exploit with others' phobias, because that person who has a phobia plays a game, and then after they play the game is a funeral. What about you, Caden?
Well, for me, it needs to have a lot going on, because if it's horror, I don't just want to be sat there bored, and it needs to have the music at the right time, like fading in and out, to create more tension and suspense.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. But like Alec has said as well, I would say like ambience is like a big important thing as well.
Yeah, like
I'd say
you need silence.
Yeah, you need silence and like a breakthrough for like the player or the audience.
I know.
Yeah. To like build tension and to like really get immersed into like the world as well and the characters.
Yeah, and now the most important question of them all: what do you define as horror?
Oh, gosh.
Well, exactly. Throughout every movie, what can you, out of all the movie and games you've seen, what aspects define the word of horror? Personally, I would go like, it actually gives you a scare, it puts you in a unease, like you feel like you're
uncomfortable mood.
Yeah.
If you keep like on guard the entire time, that's good.
Yeah, like if you reveal the antagonist's identity, you straight away, all the fear goes away because you know how they look like. There's no
exactly.
suspense.
That's the problem, like Halloween and all that, because like they always, like in the first Halloween,
they always
unmask it, and it's like, oh, I know who it is. I know that's at the end, but then they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. It's just redone now. Like it's not even that scary because you know like what's to come in like every single film. And that's same with like Saw, Child's Play, like all them sort of like horror movies.
I mean, with Child's Play, they changed it up a notch when they made the new Child's Play.
They do try and change it up, but it's just, well, it's Hollywood, isn't it? They just do it for money. Like, they just try and change it up.
That's the mystery that keeps you like on edge.
Yeah, especially, and plus it gives, of course, like the viewer to like giving them, you know, interpretation, make their own theories about it to make it, you know.
Yeah.
To keep them guessing.
Caden?
Well, for me, you know it's horror when you're sat on your sofa trying to watch it, you can't even look at it. Like, that's what shoots me as horror.
Well, there's still one type of horror which exists, and that is the one that pretty much does not affect you physically, like you go behind hiding a chair or get a blanket. The one that kind of affects you mentally. What was it that called?
Psychological horror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like games that don't have anything terrific in them, or like anything that's scary, brutal, but somehow affects you mentally.
Yeah. Have you heard of Doki Doki Literature Club?
Want the free.
From Dead Man.
It is a good example.
Yeah, because it is like a game that's not really typically meant to be horror, but you play it and you like, it really freaked, like when I played, I had no idea what it was, and it like kind of freaked me out a bit.
You should play it on the daily.
I don't know. But like when I played it, it was just like so scary because it's like caught me like quite off guard, and plus that builds up suspense because in like the first 2 hours nothing really happens, but like towards like the end it's like just goes like proper scary.
Yeah.
Like down there.
I feel like, if I'm correct, we got like 2 more questions here. But we've already been doing this for 12 minutes, so we can either continue or we could just wrap it up here.
Describe ADR and stuff.
Yeah.
Carry on.
You've written it back down.
How exactly can ADR help making a horror experience horror?
I mean, if the background noise is too high, you can put it in and you can hear them over the background noise, so it could add a little bit more horror effect to it.
Yeah, like, what does ADR stand for again? I kind of forgot.
Oh god, it's like audio something. I can't remember.
Jack?
What? I can't remember either.
Well, we know how we're going to be passing college then.
Yeah.
What about Foley sounds? Usually,
I mean, Foley, that just comes natural with anything, because obviously, like, you can, like, it's always the same. Because, like, in a stormy scene in any movie, you're going to use the same sounds. Like, it's not really going to change.
Yeah.
Unless you, like, put in, like, a VHS effect
Yeah,
over it, then
yeah.
obviously you're going to change it. But, like, Foley sounds, it basically always is consistent between movies. Like, it doesn't matter the genre.
Yeah.
If something's like someone stepping on leaves, it's gonna sound the same in a horror movie as it does in like an action movie. But on the principle that it's a horror movie, you're gonna be scared of the leaves in the horror movie because it's suspenseful.
Yeah. What about negative?
Negative space.
Yeah.
That's just building suspense.
Yeah.
But it's when you get to a certain, like, when you go to a certain area. So, like, when you go in a basement, it's going to build suspense there. It's, like, different if you was, like, in a store.
Yeah, like, it'd be, like, quite quiet. Like, say, for instance, like, someone went down in, like, the basement, it'd be, like, quite quiet to begin with, but then it, like, slowly builds up to something like what's going to be in the basement, and then you might get, like, a jump scare or something, like, shocking, and there'll be, like, a sound effect or something.
Yeah,
so with ADR, they usually use it like, let's say for example you're in a set and there's like a lot of noise and that kind of cuts out your vocals. Like you read the script, you read the lines, but when you watch the recording post-production, you basically feel like, okay, I can't hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that is when actors will get put into like a completely separate room and say the lines more clearly to either change some stuff or just entirely or just to get an entirely new voice actor who fits the bill. Like for example, Hercules in New York with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and how he basically was there but had to change his voice because it did not really fit.
Like it down there. Let me be the judge of that. I'm tired of the same old faces. The same old things.
Like it down there. Let me be the judge of that. I am tired of the same old faces. The same old things.
And it's saying like that. I can't remember that other film there was, but and then they cut out like the swearing, didn't they?
Oh, the one about there being like snakes on the plane.
Yeah, snakes, that's it, snakes on the plane. And he's just, and they cut that out, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which was like silly, but I know.
Which kind of shows why censorship has been a bit iffy then with the movies and just
don't change it. Like if it's already good to begin with, or like decent, don't change it. Yeah, exactly.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane! Everybody strap in! I'm about to open some fucking windows. Enough is enough! I have had it with these monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane! Everybody strap in! I'm about to open some freaking windows.
I feel like we've talked about everything we could have in this podcast.
Yeah, quite longer than the last one.
Yeah, so yeah, hopefully. So, maybe we'll do another one, maybe not. It just depends on what we're going to be taught to do.
Yeah, what we're going to be doing. Yeah, we're
See
just
ya.
servants.
Say goodbyes, boys.
Bye.
God damn it.